Cimoooooooo! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2020 YugiTuber Grand Championship. So, for this match, we have Ruggles, up-and-comer, a great YouTuber. Definitely check out his channel down in the description below, making some incredibly high-quality content that anyone would envy. Going up against DistantCoder. So, again, we have two people that are up-and-coming, I would say. Obviously, DistantCoder is much more known for his streaming, but nonetheless, both these players have made it to round 2. And before we unveil what the players are doing for round 2, let's introduce Mr. MBT Yu-Gi-Oh! Himself, Joseph.
Hey, what's up? It's me again, and I'm extremely happy to be casting between two individuals well known in the YugiTube community, one for not making any YouTube videos, and the other for his illustrious painting career. So very happy that we are seeing not only a diversity of decks in the YugiTuber Grand Championship, but also a diversity of perspectives and types of content created. Unfortunately, diversity is not the name of this particular match.
Yeah, I would agree. So, before we go into the details of what the players are playing, you see this reinforcement of the army fired off, and you're probably going to see, yep, there's the Goki Suplex from Ruggles. These players have to abide by the Pauper format. So, for people who don't know what Pauper is, you are only allowed to play cards that were printed at the common rarity. Now, as long as they were printed at common at some point, they are legal, and Goki is one of the breakout decks for this particular format. Joseph actually played it during his round 2 feature match. Spoilers, it didn't go well for him.
Don't remind me. Coder is responsible for the entirety of the Goki deck. Spent a lot of time creating a really, really fantastic strategy that I think is almost unbeatable in this format, with a couple of pretty notable exceptions. Before playing it, I was on Snowsworn, which I had previously thought would be one of the best decks, due to the power of, like, Redoer. But it really just, nothing else can keep up with Goki, with the exception of extremely strong high-roll decks like Grenmaju de Iza, for example. You see Ruggles going through the combo right here. Any two Gokis does this. You're able to use the Headbat activation in hand to get a free special, and from here on out, you're going to be able to chain double summons together to make double power load and a copy of the Virus Codebreaker.
Yeah, we're going to see Goki Thunder Ogre come down here. This does bestow Ruggles with an additional normal summon. I think it is incredible that this deck is all common cards. The fact that this deck has access to a towers, that basically makes it just so difficult to be able to play, because there's, what, I think 2 Kaijus that come in the common rarity. We saw in your feature match that Grenmaju also is a viable option for this. Grenmaju has to hit over the towers, so, like, there's very few and far between outs when it comes to this deck. And gotta give credit to DistantCoder. He spent like 5 hours minimum on stream just brewing and refining and coming up with this strategy, and then kind of shared it around the circle, and a lot of you guys ended up adopting this particular list.
That is correct. Ruggles has the gift of time. They played this little after Gage and I played. You can insulate yourself against your opponent's plays, provided you are doing things like adding Octo Stretch to hand so you don't get blown out by something like a Grenmaju with 10,000 attack. The Called by the Grave coming down, not super powerful against Goki rematch. It's okay, but Goki Powerload Ogre is already such a huge problem. The issue with Goki in particular is if it is allowed to go second, which it isn't very often, double summon coming down, you gotta get him some way. You can use the second effect of Power Load, which shockingly enables you to pop your opponent's cards.
Yeah, the fact that Power Load Ogre not only allows you to basically fend off 90% of the format, but it also has built-in destruction, so that even though you don't seal out the game necessarily, whatever your opponent puts up, guess what? You can just annihilate it the next turn and attempt to go for game through some of the Code Daybreaker shenanigans that the deck has at its disposal as well. We already see that Ruggles is picking up a clean first match here, and or excuse me, first game rather, and we are going straight into game number 2.
Yeah, I think pretty clearly DistantCoder could be on Goki as well. One thing that this deck doesn't do very well is draw playable hands. You saw double summon in Ruggles' opener. Often you can get choked on multiple copies of those. Some of the Gokis that don't float into each other, no way to get 2 monsters on your side of the field, no extenders. All of those things spell a certain death for the archetype, but a pointer of the Red Lotus is going to make this already bricky deck just a little brickier.
Yeah, a pointer's a pretty good one. This card has only come in common, as a matter of fact. I think that's shocking considering the power level that this has. It's pretty much comparable to a banned card being Trap Dust Shoot, but obviously does have its downsides as well. Perfectly fine here, being able to rip a card out of DistantCoder's hand for the turn. We're going to get rid of a Pankratops here, and that's a very good going second card. As you can see, DistantCoder opting to go second, that's one of the things that if you end up playing this mirror match, that DistantCoder ended up figuring out that going second is actually better, because if you were playing the mirror match specifically, you could just basically OTK and just win instantly. So it's pretty nice. Again, the amount of brewing that Coder did to figure this out is incredible. He's just going to set a card and pass and add that Pankratops back to his hand, so he really did not have a lot going for him here, and Ruggles may be able to capitalize pretty well.
Yeah, I imagine you wouldn't be hitting Pankratops unless they had nothing else going. And as expected, it's one of the worst Gokis. Thankfully, this does float a normal summoned Headbat. Sometimes the most powerful double summon there is getting to use your normal summon twice. From here, we can send these two to the graveyard in order to go into 1000 Ogre, I believe. Heal Ogre.
Heal Ogre. Yeah, so that's 1000 attack. So...
Yeah,
now
yeah.
we're gonna see an Ash Blossom hit here on one of the effect of the Gokis. Obviously they are stacked Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, so you're just gonna Ash Blossom whatever the Chain Link 2 one is. The Chain Link 1 will resolve. We're gonna get the Suprex. Already used our normal summon, but obviously this deck does have means to access additional normal summons via cards like Double Summon that allow you to extend through. But it looks like we're just gonna make this, set a card, and pass. That Ash Blossom doing enough. I mean, Ruggles knew that DistantCoder had the Ash, so oh my god, and the second a pointer. Wow.
I think likely
brutal.
Ruggles knows something we don't with regards to the contents of the hand. If they don't have something like a DD Crow, I imagine you would be getting a rematch there in order to go into at least one copy of Power. But a Porter of the Red Lotus getting the Suprex out of the hand means it's going to be very difficult for Coder to mount an offensive. They're going to have to spend their entire normal summon, and if that set card is anything relevant, that's going to be a problem.
So here we go, flipping up Goki Guts. Gonna normal summon a second copy of it.
God.
We're gonna go ahead and link these off. This is not what you want to see. You're going pretty deep in the pool of the Goki cards to find any sort of common here. So potential call by the grave here for the Goki Guts. Goki Guts does have the in-graveyard trigger effect, and if there is a call by the grave, which it doesn't look like there is, it looks like we're going to be fine here. So DistantCoder will be able to get this search, and it looks like he's going to go for Goki Ring Trainer.
Now, notably, you'll notice Coder didn't add a copy of Rematch there. That's because Rematch requires you to get Gokis with different levels from your graveyard.
So Dark Hole gonna just wipe the board here, and now we're gonna go ahead and use the effect of Ring Trainer, which is if you control no monsters, you can reveal this card, target a Goki Link monster in your graveyard, special summon this card from your hand, then special summon the target, but it loses 500 attack. Again, we're pretty deep on the Goki cards here, but it is a common, and in this particular instance, not looking too bad.
Yeah, Ring Trainer, unfortunately, was responsible for my brick in Game 3 of my match, but this is why you're playing it over a Goki that floats. The ability to go from a 2 into a 3 after getting to parity means you can go into something like a Triple Burst Dragon as a worst-case scenario, and dare your opponent to have enough starters in a scenario when you know it's very hard for them to find them.
Yeah, and it looks like DistantCoder doesn't really have much else going other than that Triple Burst. To be fair, it does put Ruggles on a one-turn clock, so it's not the worst. It also has Piercing, so if Ruggles plays defensively here, that Triple Burst could just very well end the game. We're going to see if he's able to do something here. Suprex will go back to Coder's hand via a Pointer of the Red Lotus's effect. We're going to special summon a Ring Trainer of our own here on Ruggles' side of the board. We're going to get back the Heal Ogre. This looks very familiar. We're going to link both of those off, and here comes Goki Thunder Ogre, so we probably have another resource in our hand just to be able to get that additional normal summon. It is the Suprex that we searched from the last turn, and this is just going to be very brutal uphill battle from here for DistantCoder.
Yeah, it's quite frustrating if you're in Coder's position. Not the end of the world, of course. If you have any other interruption, it's okay, but from this position, you can use the effect of Suprex to get a copy of Rematch. You can rematch into the 0-day cards and OTK your opponent quite easily. You can see that the Triple Burst Dragon is not going to be able to mount an efficient defense against this setup. I mean, I think this is probably the end of the line for Coder. While it may not be lethal this turn, it will be very shortly.
Yeah, and there it is. I mean, DistantCoder already seeing the writing on the wall, because right there, Ruggles would just be able to go and pretty much OTK at this point by going into the Codebreaker what is the card? Codebreaker Virus? You know the card. You played the deck. I can't remember the name of the card.
Do you think I can remember it? I don't remember these cards. It's pack chaff to me.
In any case, whatever it is, he would essentially be able to mount an OTK, and that's why a lot of the players for this round were playing this deck. Not all of them, though. There are some people that are playing some different things, and so it's not going to be Goki the whole round, but still cool to see nonetheless that Ruggles has advanced all the way into the top 4. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and we will see you in the next match.